Welcome back to Boom and Bust. We're here with the monthly panel. We've got the Honourable Gary Marr coming to us from Vancouver, and Sandra Pupatello coming to us from Windsor, Newfoundland. Windsor, okay. Speaking of Windsor, because we were talking about electric vehicle production, and you wanted to make a point there, but also let's swing into, there's a lot happening with EV production in Ontario, so you can be our resident expert on that.
The sell sheet for Ontario to get into the battery space shows where all of the supply comes from, including lithium, all of the chemical, all of the mining base that we have that really feeds into the battery system. But to Gary's point, we know that if we start being effective, it's going to take decades to actually get that supply. So all along, we're going to be beholden to the political risk of a global supply chain for battery production. And, we've got to start putting those cards on the table to say, how are we protecting ourselves to not get caught up? Just like Europe is now caught with Russia, producing all of the gas for all of their requirements. And it makes Italy have to hedge its bet to say, I can't really hammer at Putin. He's got all the gas that my people need. And it's a terrible situation to be in when it comes down to it. What do we do about it? I think we have to make some very tough choices, but I think it's really wise to start making that conversation happen today.
Well, I'd have to agree with Sandra. I mean, it requires a global supply chain and cooperation. I'm not sure we're going to be getting it, though. My concern is that we're going to be beholden to China and state-owned enterprises that are strip mining lithium out of some mine in the Republic of the Congo. And so it's going to be a real problem. I think that in North America, we should be thinking about cooperation among and between Canada and the United States and Mexico to try and find some cooperation, at least in this part of the world. Many parts of the world have this kind of collaborative work that they do with their other major trade partners. I think we need to think about that when it comes to critical minerals as well.
Well, Tony, he's certainly singing from your song sheet on that one, because you've long been talking about the necessity for a critical mine strategy. And with you and I founding Reshoring Canada, we've talked exactly about that. Can that include 3 countries involved in North America and start looking at how do we protect ourselves? I'm not talking about putting up walls, but I'm certainly open to looking at how we can collaborate a little further to at least guarantee ourselves supply. I think the light went on in many people's minds when the former president of the United States hijacked a 3M shipment of masks destined for Canada in the middle of a pandemic. And I can tell you, in all my years, I never thought I would see that kind of action. And it really makes all of us throw our back into the chair and say, hey, this is a whole new world. We've got to take care of ourselves. And that makes us a little bit more aggressive on the world stage.
Well, I do want to come back to one of the things that Gary alluded to as well, Sandra, which is the Canada West Foundation actually they published a blog on this just recently, the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, which President Biden announced in his trip to Asia, includes 13 countries, not including Canada. Canada's not there. So, Gary, maybe you start first. We've got Biden is talking about new structures to make sure our supply chain is the proper supply chain, and we're not even at the table. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's important to recognize that whether it's this president or his predecessor, it's all about America first and buy America. The United States is clearly our most important trade partner, but they're also our biggest competitor. And we saw that when they signed off on a free trade agreement with China, especially after signing off on a free trade agreement here in North America that prohibited partners, Mexico, the United States, and Canada, from signing on to a free trade agreement with China. Before the ink is even dry on that, they sign a free trade agreement with China. And of the 22 items that are on that agreement, 14 of them are the very same exports that Canada sends over there as well. So we shouldn't be naive about this, and we should have strategies where we are able to sort of create our own supply chain linkages. I think we've done some good work with respect to overall trade agreements, working with, For example, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This is a good news piece for Canada, but it leads us to really think hard about the kind of trade infrastructure that we need to be able to move goods from Canada to those countries and to receive those goods from those countries to come to Canada.
Sandra, we're going to hear from you after the break. We're going to take a brief break now. Stay with us. We'll be right back.